And welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. We have a police chief retiring. We're going to talk about a full day of fasting. Possibly it might happen. And then it's Tuesday. So we've got Quizzo. John Mackey's going to come back on, try to stump us. 2 weeks ago, we went 5 for 5. Last week, not so hot. So this is a redemption week coming up. Mark, how are you feeling today?
Well, since I'm not the one that's almost on a full day fast, I'm feeling fine. You are going to be a little grouchy like that Snickers commercial. I hope it doesn't affect your intellect during Quizzo session because sometimes I need you there. But
sometimes.
I'm guessing your pleasantness is about to start spiraling.
It's funny. I really believe this. I don't think my mood swings based off of food. I really don't. Because I know there are people in my life that 100%, like you can tell, until they get a bite of something, like they're miserable.
Does it have anything to do with their gender?
No, I haven't noticed that. I know, I love my dad dearly. If my dad's
really?
If my dad is hungry, just forget about it. You might as well not even talk to him.
That's funny.
I love him to death, we were joking.
He seems like such a nice, easygoing guy too.
We make sure he eats whenever he eats. No. It's funny too because I forget what we were doing, but my girlfriend, who I adore, she said something.
Oh,
thank you. She said something kind of like snappy, and all of a sudden, and then she took one bite of something, and she had a smile on her face, and I looked at her and I was like, "That is the first time you've smiled all day." And she immediately started laughing because she knew I was right. It was the first time she had smiled all day.
So when you say that's my girlfriend, whom I adore. Is that your way of like? Are there multiple girlfriends? Is there the girlfriend you adore? Is there the girlfriend you like? Or is this just? Was that an adjective or was that a classification?
It was an adjective.
Okay.
It was an adjective. So I don't know. Are you someone who needs to eat? You don't strike me as someone who needs to eat.
No, I used to be until you convinced me in this fasting thing. Like, I got in the habit. I've never been a big meal eater. I've kind of been, they say you're supposed to have like 6 small meals a day.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the guy that will ever sit down and eat a whole pizza. Like I eat 2 pieces and I'm good. And I'm not, so but I always kept myself not hungry because when you eat that way, and so the adjustment for me to this fasting thing was being comfortable being hungry and going to bed without having, a full stomach and going, because that's what I used to do. I used to eat right before I went to bed because then I knew I wouldn't be hungry through the night and I'd sleep better. And now it's, but it's fascinating how your body adjusts. We've talked about that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about it here in a second. First, kind of a breaking story. The Williamsport police chief announced his retirement. Chief Hagan is going to be stepping down. According to Mayor Slaughter, this does not come as a surprise. He has been hinting at it as the days have come along. But we saw some comments, some things people were saying on the news story. So we just wanted to come on here and kind of talk about it a little bit and just let you know that Chief Hagan has announced his retirement.
Well, and I don't know, effective when? Did I missed that?
So apparently this Friday will be his last.
Oh, that quick?
Yes, it's happening fast.
Oh, geez, I didn't know that. Carrie, our news director, met with him this morning and gave an interview. And when something like this happens now in this time, there's always a scandal theory that why is the guy retiring? Because there must be something, dark and mysterious coming down the path that he's trying to run from. He says no. It's a rough job, as you can imagine. I don't know if Dave Young was the previous chief or not, but he was a retired state cop who I used to serve on a Little League board with, and he was at Williamsport for a couple years as a police chief. And it's I told you it's not like Batman where Commissioner Gordon's there forever and ever and ever. So
sure.
Yeah, I can imagine it. And Hagan's been really nice. He's a good guy, and he's talked to us. He said he likes the mayor. It's not a lot of times you get in one of these situations where a new mayor comes in, he's fighting with the police chief or the police, vice versa. And obviously there's issues with the Nichols situation that was at City Hall, and there's from state attorney general things that are looking into things, but said it has nothing to do with it. That he's and I don't know whether it is or not. We'll find out down the road. But he's been good to us, and we will miss him. And it's a tough job, and we'll see who has it next.
Yeah. So enjoy your retirement, Chief Hagan. We'll see what he does next. We were talking before about opportunities that are out there for retired police officers and police chiefs. They're more abundant than ever now. So I'm sure he's probably not completely done from serving society, would be my guess.
Well, yeah, and you wonder through all these, is it whenever something like this comes up, is it because he was tired of the job? Because he's been a police officer for 20 some years. It's not like he just, and was he tired of the job, or is there a different opportunity that he wants to pursue? And it was like, I like this job, but I'm going to go on to the next one. But, you can only imagine how demanding being the police chief for, a city of Williamsport would be. So, yeah. But anyway, he was good to us. He was a nice guy, and I say was like he's dead. He's a nice guy, and he was a very decent human being. So we wish him the best, and we're sorry to see him go.
All right. And as we go throughout the week, we'll have more obviously from the mayor, and we'll have more as far as their replacement and what they're going to do, because it's going to happen fast. So he's done Friday. So
maybe it could be you.
Quick.
I think you would be a good police chief.
A good police chief?
Yeah.
What do you think are the qualifications for a police chief?
I don't know, but you could do it.
You think so? I feel like with a police, I think I'm a little too stubborn to be a police chief. I think you have to be more flexible. Don't you think so? Like when you get the phone call, you've got to answer the phone. Like there's no like, oh, I'm up north at the farm. Like when you get the phone calls, the police chief, you got to answer.
That would be a good question. If you took the whole, the police corps, and you had someone up and you're like, of these officers who've been doing this,
right,
which ones would be a good chief and which ones wouldn't. But it's like everything else in life, which, you could coach a basketball team and you can sit there, and even though the kids are teenagers, you could tell which one could be a good coach someday and which ones wouldn't.
Sure. I think I agree with that statement. I think with police chief, just availability. Like, I think just finding somebody, and like I think in the article I remember reading, like he thanked his family for their patience and for being away and all this stuff. Just, I think the key part is just finding somebody who's just willing to be away and available and just kind of sacrificing those other parts of your life. Like for me with coaching and stuff like that, like it's very hard because I don't want to sacrifice that part of my life.
Well, and you're right. There's got to be, I'm sure he's not on call, technically on call 24/7. But in practical purposes, he might be.
Yeah, like I said, when the right call happens, like you're answering it.
When the bat phone rings,
that's right,
you got to answer it.
Yes, you don't have much of a choice.
Would that be awesome if the next police chief got like a bat signal, and they put it like on top of the Genetti, and just like every now and then, wouldn't that be awesome?
I was gonna make an awful joke, but I'll keep it to myself. Full day fast. You and I were joking about this morning. We've talked about intermittent fasting before. Before we spin the wheel, I was sitting around here and I realized I've almost gone a full day. I'm very, very close. I ate a late lunch, early dinner around 4:00 yesterday. I finished it before 5. So right now I am closing in on like the 20.5-hour mark. If I were to wait until 4:00 again today, I will have won a full day fast.
And the beauty of this is you didn't actually really realize it until I asked you if you wanted lunch.
You asked me if I wanted lunch.
And you commented how hungry you were. Then you started going back through. So this wasn't like a plan. In a way, you were just too stupid to eat. You forgot to eat.
I did. Well, because I never eat. When I'm intermittent fasting, I never eat breakfast. And you and I have talked about it. Like I have changed very little. I'm down like 3.5, 4 pounds in about 3 weeks without exercising, without really changing my diet. Really, the only thing I have changed is how often I eat and when I eat. So because of that, I avoid breakfast. So like when you finally said to me, do you want lunch? I started to think back what I did for dinner yesterday. And then it dawned on me, like I ate around 4:00. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, like if I just wait until after the show, I will have gone a full 24 hours. Now, with that said, I was starving because most of the time you'll ask me, do I want anything? And I'll just be like, no, I'm good. Today you asked me and I looked right at you and I was like, I am starving.
So then the real question is, can you make it till 4?
I think I'm giving in. I think at 1:30, I think I'm
good.
Going
I like that attitude. Just quit.
I think, well, I mean, at that point, 21, 22 hours. I mean, at that point, I'm kind of in. Our intern talked about your brother. Yeah, he had a brother who tried to do it for 3 days.
What?
He did do it for 3 days.
He fasted for 3 days?
For 3 days. Yes, liquids, water. He had water.
Why?
Just water, fasting. Was it something to do with being Jewish? Or he just wanted to do it?
No, he just wanted to test the capabilities.
Okay, the limitations of the human
body. All right, well, you tell your brother, who I've never met, now I'm kind of afraid to. There are lots of ways you can test the limitations of the human body without fasting for 3 days. Oh,
you couldn't fast for 3 days?
3 days?
I mean, I'm a third of the way there.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm starving.
Exactly. I mean, it would be interesting because I'm sure your body goes through peaks and valleys of your body.
Well, think of it this way though, too. I would be probably sleeping for 16 hours of it.
Can you sleep when you're starving? Or how exhausted would you have to get? Because obviously you could, but if you're just, I don't think the competitive spirit kicks in once you get to I was going to eat before lunch, and then competitively, I was like, I'm this close to going for a full day. So I was like, I don't get why people run marathons.
I don't either.
But I get the challenge of it.
Yes.
I get the challenge of running a marathon much more than the challenge of not eating.
Interesting.
I don't.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm not doing either of them, but.
All right. Well, let's torture me here. Let's talk about Weis Markets and all the great places to eat up on the board.
That is true. Do you want me to get? I can get you anything. I can get you snack food. I can get you really sugary food. I could get you like healthy meals. I could get you desserts.
Because it's all at Weis Markets.
It's all at Weis Markets. I can get you whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's what if I would have known that you hadn't eaten, you were so hungry, I would have just brought in like grocery bags full of stuff and just dumped them out on your desk. Right? That would have been awesome.
You think so?
So I think it would have been funny. You think it probably would have sucked, but I think it would have been funny. Thank you to Weis Markets for sponsoring us. Maybe Jeff will win a gift card, and right after this, he can go buy $100 worth of food and eat it all in one sitting.
I may need it.
So thank you to Weis Markets. All their locations all around our region. We have a $25 gift card, $100 gift card, and I did that in not any sort of order. We have a $25 gift card, a $50 gift card, and a $100 gift card. We also have the Break Room, Eat and Run Catering, and the Moon and Raven on the board. Yesterday, we gave one away to the Break Room. I told you I'm going 3 for 5 this week, and I'm 1 for 1.
All right.
So, because last week was bad. So, but first we need to see who's going to win.
Today's random winner from the Facebook group, The Midday Show, is Erica Wright.
Erica Wright.
Let's do it.
If loving you's wrong, I don't want to be right.
Unbelievable.
Moon and Raven. I told you this week I was going to be hot. Moon and Raven.
$25 gift card for Erica Wright to Moon and Raven.
Congratulations to Erica. It looks a little off center, but that's what the thing is. All right. Anyway, Moon and Raven, congratulations. That's 2 in a row. I told you, buddy. I told you. I was feeling it.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not shaking my head because I'm not happy for Erica Wright. I'm thrilled for Erica Wright. Just you calling your shot and now going 2 for 2.
You think I'm going to be obnoxious about it for the rest of the week?
I do, because this is what you're going to do. You're going to turn it into it's statistics, it's math. If I was 0 for 5, it has to balance out.
Well, it does. I mean, not immediately, but overall, that's the way math works.
That's what I'm going to hear now for the next, I don't even remember. All right. John Mackey's coming on to do Quizzo again. We were 5 for 5 2 weeks ago. I can't say that enough. 5 for 5. We became senior quizmasters.
I don't know. A grand quizmaster.
Quizmaster. I forget what our
honorary PhD of quizmaster.
I forget what our exact title was. But then last week, John laid the smackdown on us a little bit.
Well, he went deep. We still went 2 for 5. Like he tried to shut us out, and we went 2 for 5.
Yes, I was very little help last week. I struggle bust last week. All right. So here's what we'll do. We'll bring John on now. Bear with me here as I get us set up. John, can you hear us now?
I've been listening the whole time, guys.
This is great. This is fantastic. This is much better than the sticky notes.
Here's what we should do. Sometime when you don't know if we can hear you or not, just start out yelling profanity, and then maybe we won't be out here. Maybe we will.
And then we'll let you know.
And then we'll go from there.
You guys were offered the role of junior quizmaster 2 weeks ago.
Junior.
Yeah,
Junior.
in this organization, that's as high as it gets. There's senior quizmaster, which is me, and then everybody else underneath me is junior. So, yeah.
It seems rigged.
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair.
It's the system. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, before we get into it, because we don't want to forget this, give us your schedule. Where are you at? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's Tuesday night, so that means Bullfrog Brewery at 8:30. Wednesday, a few more choices for people to pick from. We have Kimball's. No, actually, let's start at the Rusty Rail in Mifflinburg at 6:30. Then Kimball's in Williamsport at 8, Brickyard at 9, and then Thursday night we're at the Town Tavern in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania.
Now, this is something we've talked about this with in life in general, with restaurants reopening and people coming back into it. Not reopening, but capacities are changing and things like that. Last week, I'm going to guess things were because it was gorgeous outside. And then this week it's cooler again. So does that affect your things too? Like I would guess you're going to have busier crowds this week than last week just because the weather was so freaking nice.
It was really nice. Bullfrog's at 8:30, so the outdoor seating doesn't really affect me all that much. The Rusty Rail definitely has a really beautiful patio, and there was definitely a lot of people sitting out there. So it was a little slow last week. Yeah. Actually, there are a few places that haven't started back up yet where we actually do Quizzo outside in the summertime. So
that's cool.
Hopefully those places start up here real soon. And but it really depends. But 80% of my crowd are people are coming to actually play Quizzo. So if I'm inside, that's where they're going to be.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like last week was such an anomaly with how the weather's been, and it's mostly been unseasonably cooler. And then we get that. And so anyway, I just wondered, these are all these things that go through my head.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not in my best interest to come on here and try and stump you guys, right? That's not my goal, obviously.
Sure it is.
It's bad for business. If the thousands of people around the region who are watching the show say, well, listen, if these guys can do it, I can definitely go down and play some trivia and have some fun. So, it's good for you guys to do well. So. So he just watered it down then, basically. He's just like saying he's throwing us softballs.
Real quick.
No. You guys did really well 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Real
quick, John, does it cost to play Quizzo? It's free, correct?
It is free, yeah, but what I like to say, and sometimes people take offense to this, is that it's not a park bench, it's a restaurant. So if you're coming in, you're not getting charged to play Quizzo. The expectation is that you're going to spend a little money and support these businesses. So, if you're going to come play trivia, don't just order water and sit there for an hour and a half.
It's not a park bench. I like it, John.
All right. Get us going.
All right. Well, so, we are just getting into the NBA playoffs. So I thought a basketball question, we could start out with that. So here's your question. First question. Who was the NBA's first unrestricted free agent? And I can give you a hint here if you would like.
Hold on. I think Jeff, do you know this? Jeff's the resident basketball guru. So
I have two answers. I think I know it.
All right. Well, I'll just think out loud. Here are my first guess, for whatever reason, is Moses Malone. And Moses Malone showed up at college for like a day. And then he left and he went to the NBA. But that would have been in like the 70s. So I guess when we go to free agency, they didn't have free agency in the 70s. So Jeff's shaking his head. So that's not it. You're saying it was a more modern, like unionized.
No, Moses was the first high school player ever drafted. That's what Moses is famous for.
Oh.
Okay. There's two answers. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. First, this is called the Oscar Robertson rule. This unrestricted free agency would not have existed if it wasn't for some case, and it was led by Oscar Robertson. And then basically a player was allowed to, the word waive is in there somehow, but so it's the Oscar Robertson rule. But the first player that actually got to take advantage of it, I believe, was Tom Chambers when he left the Seattle Supersonics to join. I might have that wrong. I think he left the Sonics to join the Suns.
He played in Phoenix then.
I think, but Tom Chambers was the first person to get to use the Oscar Robertson rule in order to be an unrestricted free agent.
If you just got this with Tom Chambers, I am beyond impressed.
Tom Chambers also has one of the most underrated dunks of all time.
Well, didn't he? I remember, him and Thunder Dan. White guy with his knee in someone's chest.
Yes, and it rose him because of the way his knees were, they were bent, and it kind of like lifted him. And the next thing you knew, his neck was like at the
Who
rim.
is he? Who is he on? Who did he
I
dunk
don't
on?
remember.
I do remember the dunk you're talking about.
All right. Well, now I'm going to be embarrassed.
Just to clarify,
I'm pretty sure it's Tom Chambers because of the Oscar Robertson rule.
This is how smart we are. It's the Oscar Robertson rule. So of course our guess is going to be Tom Chambers.
Hey, you guys are 100% right. Yeah, Tom Chambers. He left the Sonics in 1987 to sign with the Phoenix Suns. Actually, a really great article out there about that whole process, and he talks about all of the things that the Phoenix Suns did to get him to come to Phoenix. And it's just kind of like back then it was like the big deal, and now it's just kind of just this is what happens all over.
They do. There's a really neat video about Oscar Robertson and how he doesn't get the credit he deserves basically for fighting for player movement. Because it had something. Oscar Robertson, for whatever reason, with the Cincinnati Royals, he either couldn't leave or wanted to leave, and then he was never able to. So he just kind of, I don't want to say he wasted away in Cincinnati, but that's kind of what happened, and that's how it all came to be.
I thought you wasted away in Margaritaville.
Yes, that too.
Okay, good.
All right,
I would just say, just to put a disclaimer here, if you can ask like 10,000 basketball questions, and Jeff will get all of them but like 2.
It would be, yeah.
All right, 1 for 1.
Okay.
Second question. It's pretty straightforward. How many stripes run all the way across the American flag? And obviously, if you have an American flag somewhere in your office,
we don't. In the house. There's 13. There's 13.
It's 6 or 7. I don't know which is which. It's either there's 6 or 7 on the top and there's 6 or 7 on the bottom, but it can't be which it is.
The blue part is not bigger than half. And there can't be half because there's obviously 50 stars for the 50 states. There's 13 stripes for the 13 original.
Correct.
If the blue part took up 7, do you think the blue part is a little bigger than half or a little smaller than half? I would say a little smaller.
Oh, really?
You're saying bigger?
I think the blue part makes up. I think the blue. I obviously it's not the majority of the flag. The blue part is significantly bigger than what people think it is.
Just for the record, the blue part would be the canton.
Oh, the canton.
Really? There's a name.
There is a name
for the
blue part, and that would be the canton.
Is that a part of flags?
Yes. Yep.
Huh.
That you would have stumped me on that question.
Yeah.
So you think it'd be more 7 than 6?
I think.
Okay, I think
it's more than like. I think the blue part makes up more than 25% of the flag. Like I don't think it's like this tiny little square up in the corner.
Well, it's because since there's 13, it can't be exactly 50%. So it's either a little bit less or a little bit more.
That's why I said the first thing I said to you is it's 6 or 7.
Let's go with 7. Wait. So no, it's going to go. So 6 stripes go all the way across because
hold on,
because
it's all the way across.
Right. The blue part blocks off 7, so we're going to go with the other 6 stretch all the way across.
Yes, because the blue part's bigger than what
the blue part's bigger than half. Okay, that's our guess.
You guys are right. 6.
Boy.
All because of the canton.
I would have been wrong. I would have gone the other way.
Really?
I would have said 6.
I just think the blue part's bigger than what people realize.
It is now. It's bigger than I realized. Good job, Jeff. Jeff is
bigger by 1 stripe.
Bigger. It's 1 stripe bigger.
It's 1 stripe bigger.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that was very enjoyable for me to sit here and watch you two figure that out. Really great.
Thank you.
That's what it looks like in a real game of trivia. You know, teammates sitting together, hashing it out, coming up with the right answer.
Do they scream at each other?
Sometimes.
Are there fist fights?
No, I actually divorced one time, believe it or not. But that's a
what?
That's a whole other story.
Wait, what did he say?
He's gonna have to tell us that story another time. A divorce.
Yeah.
Over
I
Quizzo.
think it might have actually been what tipped a couple into a divorce, but we'll save that story for another time.
Wait, was one of them right and one of them wrong?
It wasn't so much right or wrong. It was one half of the couple's behavior towards a question that I had asked. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, we can cover that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good.
All right. Question number 3. What celebrity chef's first restaurant, called Johnny Garlic's, opened in 1996? What celebrity chef's first restaurant, it was called Johnny Garlic's, opened in 1996?
This was the first time I'd ever heard of Johnny Garlic's.
Emerald is my celebrity chef. Who's the kind of chubby guy with the spiked hair that looks like the
Guy Ferrari?
Is that his name? He looks more like a biker than a I can't think of his name. I don't know. I'm not the fact that people watch cooking shows on TV baffles me. I don't get it.
1996, you think it might have been Emerald? Or would he have had a restaurant before 1996?
I thought he had yeah, it doesn't sound like an
my only issue with Emerald, because that's actually, I did not think of him when I first read the question. My only problem with Emerald is I feel like he was big in 1996, so which means he would have had his first restaurant.
Who's the guy that did like the what's the one where they cook in front of people and they have the competitions, and the guy who
not Anthony Bourdain, he's dead. The guy who always yells at people?
Yes.
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay.
You want to say Gordon Ramsay?
I'm just spitting out names.
Gordon Ramsay. He's got to be a chef, so it can't be. That's the tricky part, is the chef part, because I can think of people that would own restaurants, but none of them. I would guess one of those two. I would say Guy Fieri or Gordon Ramsay.
Today is your day. You go with it.
I'm okay. I will say Johnny Garlic's. That sounds more like Guy Fieri than.
I'm good with that. Let's go with that.
Can you picture Gordon Ramsay having a place called Johnny Garlic's?
Let's go with him. That guy.
All right, let's go with Guy Fieri.
Well, you're correct. It's not Guy Fieri, it's Guy Fieri. But yes, you are correct. The guy with
the guy I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Like short, spiky hair?
Yeah, he hosts diners, drive-ins, and dives as well.
Okay.
This is amazing.
He looks like he's eaten like 15,000 cheeseburgers in his life.
And there can't be anything healthy on Johnny Garlic's menu. I don't care.
No, I would probably agree with that, but I'll bet it's delicious.
Yes.
Emerald was good. I think my mom used to watch Emerald. Wasn't Emerald like on
Bam.
Wasn't he on like the Rosie O'Donnell show?
I thought he was the first.
That?
Wasn't he the first like TV chef guy that had his own show?
He's the first I remember, but I'm, younger than you.
All right. So far, Jeff is 3 for 3, and I'm just here having fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next question, I'm sure you both are fully aware that the Friends reunion is airing on May 27th. That's
I just saw it yesterday. Yes.
2 days away. So we're going to hit you with a Friends question. What was the name of Joey's character on Days of Our Lives? And I'm going to need his first and last name. What was the name of Joey's character?
I think I do. Oh, my God. Well, here's the best part about this. I think Friends is one of the most overrated sitcoms of all time. And I can honestly count on one hand how many times I've even seen a soap opera on a screen. So this is like the worst possible question to ask me.
The only thing I would say is that I know Rick Springfield played a doctor back on General Hospital, and my high school girlfriend watched General Hospital, and once upon a time I knew what his name was. But I think Joey's name was Dr. Drake Ramore.
I guess, Jeff, we're just going with that.
Yeah, I have literally no idea.
Well, Mark is correct. It was Dr. Drake Ramore.
Why do you know that?
My ex-wife, when we got together, Friends was her favorite show, and I was in your ballpark. I'm like, this show is not that good. And then I started watching it with her, and I really like Friends. I think Friends was very funny.
I had to sit through the first season of Friends because I had people tell me just start it. And if it wasn't for Matthew Perry, I don't really get the show. I don't get it.
It was the same way with me. And she's like, no, it's a lot better than you think. And we just started watching it. And it was her favorite. And that's kind of why I got drugged in it. And it was good. I like Friends a lot more than I thought it was. I think it's underappreciated.
No.
There we go.
First couple seasons, towards the end, they really started relying heavily on these guest stars. They would bring in these people like Brad Pitt and all these guys. So they really kind of jumped the shark there towards the end. But I agree. I think it was, it is what it is what it was. It was a fun show. You weren't going to walk away with it with, some kind of groundbreaking, thoughts on the world. But it was fun. So.
And it gave us Jennifer Aniston. What's better than that?
Yeah. All right.
Hold on. We are 4 for 4.
Yeah. Very impressive
and
stuff.
I do want to take a little bit of credit for that guy, because I said, the guy with the short, spiky hair. So I didn't know his name. So I contributed a little.
So we got one question left. See if we can go 5 for 5 again. So Bob Dylan, he just turned 80 yesterday. 80 years old. Believe it or not, he's never had a #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100. All right. He's had 2 #2 songs. 2 songs that have hit #2. The second of those was Rainy Day Woman. What was the first song he ever had that got to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100?
This is you, Mark.
My immediate thoughts, you just did a knocking on heaven's door question a couple weeks ago, so that wouldn't be it. Like a Rolling Stone has to be in consideration. All Along the Watchtower would be in consideration. Blowing in the Wind. I would have to guess. My favorite Dylan song is Forever Young, but it can't be that one. That probably wouldn't. I would think Like a Rolling Stone has to be. That's my guess. That's my best guess.
That's my best guess as well.
Okay. Well, you guys did it. You went 5 for 5. Like a Rolling Stone.
So what comes after Senior Quizmaster?
What happened? Are we do we get a postdoctorate degree now? Like, how many of these are there?
Maybe you guys should start asking me the questions. I don't know. Yeah, you remember when it's like a year ago when Bob Dylan sold his entire catalog to Universal for $300 million?
I remember that.
Wow.
I saw Bob Dylan live once. He opened for the Grateful Dead. The one time I saw the Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan opened. So in the historical elements of the world, people are like, oh my gosh, that is one of the legendary shows of all time. I don't know how many songs Bob Dylan did. This would have been in 1990 something. So Dylan was in his 50s, I guess. You said he just turned 80?
Just turned 80. So
he would have been in his 50s. And I swear to God that I do not understand one word he sang the whole time. It was, but I saw Bob Dylan live. So there you go.
That was great.
Hey, you did it. 5 for 5.
Crushed it.
I feel Dr. Drake Ramore, buddy.
That was ridiculous.
Dr. Drake Ramore. You are impressed. Don't pretend you're not.
Why you know that? It just,
I don't know.
No sense.
It's just too bad I don't have any skills in life that are marketable. That's my shortcoming.
All right, one more shameless plug, John.
Sure, one more shameless plug. I was going to say he also played a police officer. He had a pilot, I believe, where his partner was a robot. Do you remember the name of the police show where his partner was a robot?
But I remember the one you're talking about.
Mac and cheese.
Yes, it was mac and cheese. I wouldn't have got that, but I do remember it. Obviously, Mac was a Friends appreciator. Maybe not an aficionado, but you appreciated it.
All right, yeah. Bullfrog tonight, 8:30. Tomorrow, Rusty Rail, Mifflinburg, 6:30. Kimball's at 8. Brickyard at 9, and then Town Tavern, Lewisburg at I believe 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, Town Tavern tomorrow, Thursday, Lewisburg.
All right.
You are the man.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. That was My gosh. I'm like, should we show up somewhere? I want to give people a chance.
Well, what's dumb luck about ours is what the 2 times we've gone 5 for 5 is it's not like we've hashed them out. Either you knew it or I knew it.
Yes.
And there were times there was Tom Chambers. Dude, I love sports. I know a lot about sports.
Yeah.
You could have given me 350 guesses before I get to Tom Chambers.
Then the neat thing about Tom Chambers, one, he has one of the most underrated.
The greatest white guy dunk in basketball history.
We'd have to go through. I don't know. It's up there.
Thunder Dan had some good ones, but no, he put his knee right in the dude's chest.
His neck was at the rim.
It was awesome.
It was ridiculous.
It was awesome.
But the neat thing about Tom Chambers is people don't realize, like, he was an all-star.
Oh, he's a great player.
And I also think, I don't know, I'd have to look this up for certain. I'm pretty sure he's on, like, Hall of Fame ballots. Like, I don't think he'll ever get in, but, like, his name, like, that's a whole other classification because only so many people are going to get into Hall of Fames. But, like, even to just have your name on the ballot.
Well, if you're an all-star, because it ain't like, the NBA, they don't have a 25-man roster. Like the baseball all-star team, you have to have a representative from every team, and you have to have this.
Yeah.
So if you say, hey, I'm in the NBA, I was a Hall of Famer. Obviously, that means something. But if you're like, in the NBA, I was a 4-time all-star, that's saying something too.
Oh, for sure. And he also, a lot of people forget, like those Chicago Bulls, like 90s, the Suns finally met them. Chambers was on that team. Like everyone talks about Kevin Johnson and Dan Marley and Charles White. Tom Chambers was on the roster.
They almost won that series too.
It was closer than what people remember, for sure.
Yes,
for sure, 100%.
Tom Chambers, I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Why do we have LeBron?
According to William Cooper, the dunk was on Mark Jackson, which actually makes the dunk even better.
Great.
Yes.
Oh, one of my favorite quotes in sports history, and you probably heard this. Mark Jackson was the coach of Golden State.
Yes.
Before he got fired and Steve Kerr came in. And Mark Jackson as a commentator, him and
Van Gundy
are fantastic.
They're good. It's getting weird, but they are.
Well, they've been doing it a long time.
Yes.
But they are brilliant. They make watching basketball a blast. And when Mark Jackson he's also an ordained minister.
Yes.
When he got fired from Golden State, there was a leaked comment or an off-the-record comment that wasn't supposed to get out. But the owner said, you can't fight with everyone in the building and keep your job.
Yes.
Which is great advice for everyone.
He made a comment the other night because obviously the NBA playoffs are in full swing. So they were doing a game and they said something. He said Mark Jackson made a comment about helping people off the floor. So basically, Chris Paul gets hurt. LeBron James come over, helps on the floor. Mark Jackson goes, great sportsmanship, helping off the floor, everything else. And Jeff Van Gundy's like, you wouldn't have helped him off the floor. And Mark's like, sure, I would. Like, sort of everything else. Then later in the game,
they showed clips.
Well, no. So then later in the game, something happens and Chris Paul got hurt. And Chris Paul keeps walking over to the referees during free throws and out of bounds and asking to hold the ball and dribble it because he's trying to get the feeling back because he hurt his shoulder. So he's trying to get the feeling back in his arm. And Mark Jackson's like, if I'm the Lakers, I'm complaining about Chris Paul dribbling the ball like in timeouts. Like, let's go. Like, get it. Like, find your arm on your own time. And Jeff Van Gundy basically called out Mark Jackson, being like, 1 second you're saying like sportsmanship, help him off the floor, and then the next second you're saying like sportsmanship, like don't give him any chance to like get the ball back. Mark Jackson's a weird dude. He's unique.
I would agree with that. And Van Gundy's just the best. What Van Gundy has done for Mark Jackson's broadcasting career is because I could work with Van Gundy and he would be great. Like he is brilliant.
Yes. Have you ever heard? You've seen the 30 for 30 with the Pacers and the Knicks, and Mark Jackson's in it because he played with those Pacers.
Right.
And some of the stuff Mark Jackson says in those documentaries is great because it's like just that playground, like the Spike Lee kind of like in your ear. That's Mark Jackson. Like Mark Jackson is like the playground. Like Mark Jackson, this is going to sound awful. You are not smarter because Mark Jackson did your broadcast. Like listening to Mark Jackson, you don't know more about basketball, but you're entertained.
Yes.
Because he has that playground flow and rhythm to what he's seeing. So I appreciate Mark Jackson. Van Gundy doesn't carry him, but it is your point. It is a match kind of made in heaven.
But Van Gundy knows a little bit about the game. Like he can go from just to be funny and comical and make jokes. He told a story one day about like his car. He was driving like some Yugo. He's coach of the Knicks, and he's driving some old beat up car, and it got like blown over on the runway by whatever. And so he can be funny, but he can. I mean, he coached in the NBA. He coached like NBA Finals teams. He could X and O it as well, and it would.
If he
could do either way.
Well, that's my favorite's Hubie Brown, which I get made fun of for that all the time. But I like Hubie Brown because it's just 90% X's and O's.
But yeah,
Hubie's only there for the basketball. But that's it.
But did Hubie take any teams to the final? Did Hubie win anything?
Hubie had when they first went from Vancouver to Memphis, Hubie took over that team, and they were like a 4 or 5 seed when he first took it over, which
really
an expansion Memphis team, yeah. No, they never won anything, but he was always that good middle ground coach to like get transition.
He wasn't as good as Van Gundy was.
No, but
the thing about Van Gundy too is Van Gundy looks like an attorney or an accountant. Yes. He's like a 5'9" white guy with a comb over who like you can't even dribble a basketball. How can you coach Patrick Ewing? But he did. I'm
pretty sure he played Division III at Nazareth.
Did he?
I think so.
Did he?
I think he did.
Did he play basketball?
Yes.
Because Scott Drew, Coach Baylor.
Yeah.
You know what he played in college?
I do not.
Tennis.
Interesting. Well,
his dad was the basketball coach, and that's how he got into coaching. But he was a tennis
My college coach was a baseball player.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean he couldn't play basketball, but he was a baseball player in college.
Right.
And then his dad was a Harlem Globetrotter, one of the originals.
Really?
Jumpin' Johnny Wilson. Yeah.
That is cool.
Really cool.
Were they from New York or were they just?
No, Indiana.
Okay.
So really quick story. They were from, I want to say Gary, Indiana.
French Lick?
No, not French Lick. I'll look this up the one day for you. But anyway, he has a statue outside of Anderson College in Indiana because he led the nation in scoring, I believe, 2 seasons.
Okay.
And the reason he had to go to Anderson is because at the time, Indiana University already had 2 black players on their roster.
And that was the
and they would not have Jumpin' Johnny Wilson on the team because of it. So he went to Anderson and led the nation in scoring. So now there's this really awesome statue out front of the university for him.
And that is the father of your college coach?
Correct.
Okay.
He was our assistant coach.
Oh, he was there?
He was the assistant coach.
You were coached in college by a Globetrotter?
By Jumpin' Johnny Wilson.
That is awesome. Yeah. Why am I just hearing this story
I don't know. It just never came up. We'll do a Jumpin' Johnny Wilson sometime. It's cool. Really neat.
And that's a great Jumpin' Johnny Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really great. Gave me a chance to play basketball at Lock Haven.
That is a great story. That's like the best story you've ever told me.
I'm sorry.
I had to sit through like 90 episodes to get to that.
90, which we're coming up on our 100th episode.
We are.
We're getting excited for that. So we're going to do some fun stuff. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Thank you for watching the Midday Show, brought to you by Weis Markets. Be sure to go there for all your grocery needs. And thank you to NorthcentralPa.com. Be sure to check it out for all your local
Do you need any groceries right about now?
No, I don't. I'm going to have to find a fridge to put them in. I'm getting the boot.
And our story about Chief Hagan, I'm sure it's going to run if it hasn't run already. Like we said, Carrie Pauling, our news director, interviewed him this morning. So all the news that's fit to print about the quick police retirement, I guess, as we said at the end of the week.
Yes. Be sure to check it out at NorthcentralPa.com. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Thanks for watching the Midday Show. We didn't shout out our intern.
Nah, forget him.
Forget the intern.
Yeah.
He's going to be the nameless correspondent eventually.
We're going to come up with that's what we should have him on the street.
Yeah.
Like the Daily Show. We can have him out interviewing people.
Craig, you'll do that, right? Craig will do it.
He'll do it. Absolutely.
Thanks for watching the Midday Show at North Central PA.